It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. Now for a Seymour Putters Masters update. Tiger Woods has teed off and bogeyed the first hole of the day. He is even through the first two holes on day two of the Masters. Sungjae Im and Danny Willett leading the way at the top of the leaderboard at 4 under. Im through 14 holes. Willett through 4 holes on the day. The Tennessee Titans were implicated in the Brian Flores lawsuit against the NFL on Thursday as former Titans defensive coordinator Ray Horton joined the lawsuit and alleged the franchise conducted a sham interview with them in 2016 to comply with the Rooney Rule after already settling on Mike Mularkey as their next head coach. The Titans ultimately elevated Mularkey from his interim role to head coach in that cycle. The team said in a statement on Thursday, quote, "We conducted detailed in-person interviews with 4 talented individuals, 2 of whom were diverse candidates. No decision was made. No decision was communicated prior to the completion of all interviews." College baseball this weekend, top-ranked Tennessee back in Lindsey Nelson Stadium hosting a series against the Missouri Tigers. Vols looking to stay unbeaten in SEC play. Game 1 is tonight at 5:30. And the Vandy boys at Auburn this weekend. First pitch tonight at 6 p.m. The Atlanta Braves opened up their 2022 defense of the 2021 World Series with a 6-3 loss to the Cincinnati Reds last night. Game 2 tonight at 6:20. And the Preds back in Bridgestone Arena on Saturday night playing host to the Florida Panthers, a 5 p.m. puck drop after last night's win 3-2 at the Ottawa Senators. Nashville Soccer Club with 3 games remaining in the 8-game road trip to open the season before coming home to Geodis Park on May 1st. Saturday night, NSC is at Sporting Kansas City, a 7:30 kickoff. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
A fantastic Friday to you all. Hope you're doing well. Mickey Ryan still spending some quality time with his little man there, his son Christopher out in St. Louis. Saw him post some pictures a few minutes ago. Get some help from a pro baseball player there.
Yeah, he told me he was going to be
That's
doing
fantastic.
That. Yeah, so he's trying to help him on swing. He said he was help him duplicate that when he got back home.
So the man he calls Rabble is getting some tutelage this afternoon. This is good. But Rhett Bryan here from Titans Radio, filling in for Mickey. But there is Blaine Bishop, as usual, on Blaine and Mickey. And if you want to jump in and talk about what we're going to talk about for the next couple of hours, the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline is the way to do that at 615-737-1045. On today's show, Buck Rising here in about 20 minutes. He had an interesting show today. He had Brett Kern on.
Oh.
And talking Masters and talking weather and all those kinds of things. We'll revisit some of that maybe. And don't forget, we have Preds tickets to give away at 2:20. And also at that 2:20 spot, because of Tiger and the Masters, then you just heard that update from Lucas Panzica.
We'll be really distracted during the show.
Yes, we will. Yeah, that's right. But we
happening.
will talk to Trevecca's head golf coach, David Head, with all of that in mind at 2:20 to continue the second hour of Blaine and Mickey. So plenty of stuff. And then, draft talk, Titans talk. Who could be a free agent or two that the Titans could add after the draft? We'll look at that this afternoon. I printed us a list of the top 100 remaining free agents. There's a lot of big names there. And just when you look at some of the age of some of these guys, some of it's shocking. And then some of it's like, wow, he's still that young. I mean, like I looked at Jason Peters. I'm like, Jason Peters is 40.
What?
Dwayne Brown is 37.
What?
Calais Campbell is 36.
Oh, my.
Yeah. But I tell you a name that got my attention. Larry Ogunjobi, the former defensive lineman for the Bears and for the Bengals. He's only 28 years old. Sony Michel's sitting there. He's 27. Here. It was the other back you mentioned.
Gordon. Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
He's 29. I thought he would have been. It seemed like he was older. But, when you start seeing a lot of ages here, which I retired at 33, and you start seeing 33 on here, I don't care what position, you're already at a disadvantage unless you're at a high-level player, and you wouldn't be on this list. So, obviously, whether you got nicked up or you're a different role player now than when you started your career, it's pretty fascinating. We even see our old Titan, Jason McCourty, on here.
I was just looking at that
35.
as we speak.
35.
35.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, Richard Sherman's he's only 33? Man, I feel like
See,
he's older than that.
Yeah, it seems like he's been in the league longer than that. Yeah. Joe Hayden, 34 years old.
Dante Hightower. Local.
Yeah, that's right. Middle Tennessee native.
Yeah,
that's right.
He's Columbia, where you guys are going this weekend, right?
That's right. We are on the road. Myself, Mike Keith, Amy Wells, Coach Dave McGinnis. It's the OTP Hometown Tour, and it kicks off tomorrow at the Columbia Visitor Center in lovely Columbia, Tennessee in Murray County. Thanks to our friends at Farm Bureau Health Plans, Randy Wilmore and all his staff. But yeah, we'll be doing a live OTP and a meet and greet tomorrow afternoon. And then the tour continues on Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock, I believe, at Martin's Barbecue over on 4th Avenue South.
Oh, okay.
And I think that'll be Coach Mack and all of us.
Lincoln
and
City.
Burke Nihill will be there from the Titans. So, yeah, and then there's several days through this next week where we'll be in Jackson, Tennessee one day, Cookeville, Tennessee one day. So, yeah, it'll be fun.
Oh, it's revving up.
It's revving up.
And Perry Green, thanks for helping us out here. Hightower's from Lincoln City. I hope that's right, just like we got it wrong. So, yeah. Man, he's out there, though. It's a lot of names on here. Surprised you, Sonny Michelle. Oh, I mean, man, I was like, whoa. Oh, even yours truly, Quentin Spain, who's a better Twitterer than maybe his play at times. All
right, here's a name that's interesting.
Wisenberry, whoa, Dunlap, Jason Pierre-Paul.
How about running back Justin Jackson? He's 26 years old. The Charger.
Wow. Yeah, the Charger. Yeah,
I like that guy.
Northwestern.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's a pretty good player. Man, I can't believe he's out there, and he's kind of definitely a role guy. I don't know if you want to make him, and anybody on this list probably won't be. Well, some of them could be starters potentially if some guys get injured, but in this offense, he would be that guy who can run in between the tackles as well as catch the football, but not your every down back. But I do like his skill set. Yeah.
Now this has Marlon Mack on this list. I thought somebody
just signed
said that
somewhere.
Yeah, I thought he signed
The Texans.
That's right.
The Texans.
He would have been. I would have liked to have seen him in a Titans uniform.
Oh, I like his.
I like his style a lot, and it just
UConn guy, right?
That's right.
I remember, man, how many people kind of UConn? I mean, just like how many of those guys were really good players. And for a minute there, he looked really, really good. Then the injuries started happening, and then it was over, and then Taylor was drafted.
Jonathan Taylor comes in, and
just think he started in front of Taylor his rookie year, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, okay.
That's right.
Might have got it wrong. You're watching it closer than I am.
How about Cam Newton on the list? 33 years old. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 39 years old.
Oh, I am a Dennis Kelly guy, though.
Yeah, I see him. Yeah, the Undertaker.
Jack Rabbit's on here. Yeah. Joe Hayden.
Here's an interesting prospect right here. Keelan Cole played with the Jets last year, but he was a guy that had latched on to the Jaguars roster a few years ago out of Kentucky Wesleyan or something like that. He's a wide receiver. He's actually a nice player. Ooh. That's an interesting prospect.
Okay. Oh man! Oh well, I'm gonna go with Willie Snead.
Big Willie Snead.
Yeah, Ball State's finest.
Yes, sir. He's had some tours of duty in New Orleans, Carolina.
I think last year with the Raiders wasn't so good. Though.
Yeah, not so much. So much.
They had a pretty good slide.
How about Darrell Williams from Kansas City? There he is, a free agent, 27 years old, running back.
It was a big time safety back in my day. Darrell Williams went to the U at safety.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good player. Spelled differently, though.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Jaquiski Tart from the San Francisco 49ers. There he is at safety, who is a free agent. Running back David Johnson, former Cardinal, former Houston Texan. Jerick McKinnon, Deontay Freeman. But, yeah, there's old Le'Veon Bell sitting down there.
Oh, Robert Alford. He's 33?
See, that's the thing. Time goes by so fast. Some of these guys, I'm
that's
shocked
the guy
at
that
how young.
At the Falcons, right? And then went to the Cardinals last year.
I believe that's right, yeah.
I'm trying to think. I think
some of these guys, you're like, I don't remember them being that old, and some of them, I didn't realize they were that young.
Yeah, I would have guessed 28. He's been in the league probably, 6 years.
How about this? Here's A.J. Bouye sitting there at 31. Now, that was a guy that was, he was the get in the offseason.
I really liked him about 4 years ago because he went to the Jaguars.
That's right, on a big free agent contract.
That only lasted a couple of years, though, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But,
Yeah, that was when they started.
He's from somewhere nearby here, right? Like on the way to Kentucky or something like that.
I'm not 100%
I remember
sure, Wayne.
when I looked into him, he doesn't live too far from here, or he's not from too far from me. I think it's less than an hour.
Okay.
Outside.
He's got a tie locally.
Yeah, we could look him up. Maybe Buck back there would know. We have him on. He was covering the Titans then.
That's right. Of course, Odell Beckham Jr. is still available. Of course, he tore his ACL in the Super Bowl. Jadeveon Clowney's still available. We know how that one went. Honey Badger. Honey Badger's sitting there, and you saw the article today about how much it hurt him to leave Kansas City. And he's, taking a visit with the New Orleans Saints, and I think that's a place where he'll end up landing because that's home.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know he did a Zoom call with the Philadelphia Eagles as well. I think the Colts have somewhat of an interest, but I think they signed someone as a backup role. So I don't know if that affects him or not. Man, that I don't. What is his age?
He's 30.
Yeah, I'm shocked. There's not a market. Maybe he's priced himself out of the market and maybe could have took a more modest deal. I'm not talking about minimum salary for a veteran, but. He played at a high level. He still made the Pro Bowl. I still think he's an impactful player. I think he's got 2 or 3 years left in him at a high level.
I would agree with that. I would certainly agree with that. This was kind of
interesting. It's kind of, man. And when they meet him, they're not going to be, overwhelmed. But his play speaks for himself because when you meet him, he's probably really like a 5'9" guy that is thin framed. To be honest.
Turn on the tape.
But turn on the tape, man. You see baller all day. Slot, blitz, free safety, too deep. He can do it all. So, and direct the defense as well. So I've seen him out there with the Chiefs. I really watch him. I'm fond of his play.
Oh, but listen.
I watched him at LSU, and I was just like, he was returning kicks and punts then. It was like, what the heck is this guy?
Yes, absolutely. No, he's a stud. Always has been. And New Orleans makes sense. Again, he played at LSU, and maybe that's the hometown discount you're talking about. He signs a little less money there to because they need help in the secondary.
Yeah, I know they lost one of their safeties, but I thought they signed somebody, so I still think they need another safety. I think they could go for him. I'm wondering why they're just kind of humming around here. They're not in cap purgatory still, right? They
got through all that because they had to be under the cap when free agency started a few days ago. So they're now where they currently sit. I haven't looked at that in the last day or two.
Mm-hmm. But what of a player of his ilk? What do you think the average per year? Let's say if you did a 3-year deal for him, if you were just guessing off the top of your head, what would you think it'd be worth at this point of his career?
I mean, he's probably probably $5 million a year, something like that. I don't know.
Right. I don't know. I think that's going to be the issue. Yeah. Because he's going to look at his resume and say, still got a lot of the tank. I haven't missed a lot of games. So I would believe he's thinking he's going to get like 7 or more, 7, 8, 9. I mean, the starters, these going rate, if you're an elite player at 30, I think you're still making high dollar. I mean, watch this, how old is Kevin Byard? I have no idea.
You know what? I don't know off the top of my head. He's not 30.
Lucas, you're supposed to be helping us. Instead of talking to Buck. If you were guessing, how old do you think Buck, ask Buck too, how old is Kevin Byard?
Oh, if I had to guess, I would say 28.
Oh.
You would be right. Oh. He'll be 29 on August 17th.
So before the season starts, he's 29.
Yes, sir.
I don't know where, Honey Badger's age is, if he turns 31 or if he just turned 30, what have you. So that's not that big of a gap.
Nope. And no, you made it totally relatable to right here in our backyard.
Yes,
that's right.
I don't know. Maybe maybe they devalued his position. I honestly think his skill sets increase his value because he's a multi-talented, faceted player at his position, and I think you need that now at safety. I don't think if you just got the run stopper guy, or if you just have the guy who's just more of a two deep guy, you got to have a guy that can actually do a lot of things, and cover is one of them, and that is at the top of the board for him. I mean, he could pretty much do everything.
yeah.
So he could. I mean, if
How
you want
many
to put him in
guy-
as a slot, cornerback, he could do that.
How many teams are looking for that star position?
Right.
You got to be a
Yeah,
multitasker galore.
yeah,
you do
it's a-
to face NFL offenses
And all the
every
great safeties,
day.
Byard, one of them.
Yep.
You're multifaceted. You can do
Yep.
a lot of different things. So this is a little surprising. I'm a little disappointed, especially
Well,
since as a former position.
We're going to
guy
have
playing.
another. Yes.
Like, no, man, they
yes.
screwing the same thing,
Yeah.
man. Come on.
Yes, that's right. That was your job. That was it. Our job is to get us into a commercial break and come back with Buck Rising as we continue hour one of Blaine and Mickey right here on your home for the Titans and the Vols, 1045 The Zone. Blaine and Mickey rolling on a Friday on 104.5 The Zone. Mickey out today. Rhett Bryan here in for him. Blaine Bishop right here beside. And we bring in Buck Rising of the Buck Rising program.
What up?
And Buck is brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, home of the non-commissioned salespeople. Buck, you had some fun on your show today, bringing Titans punter Brett Kern in, talked Masters, talked weather.
We did.
Talked with Coach Mack,
weather.
and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, no, it was Brett Kern's been our Masters analyst now 2 years in a row because, as Blaine, I'm sure will attest to, the specialists are usually scratch golfers or in the ballpark, and nobody has a better understanding of weather's impact on athletics than a punter who studies the forecast the way that rivals only the local meteorologists, Nashville Severe Weather, and Rhett Bryan, who does pride himself on weather analysis.
I am a weather nerd.
And Mickey
love
Ryan,
weather.
too. Don't knock him.
Mickey's not here, though, so I have to kiss Rhett's ass today, not Mickey's ass.
Well, there
today.
it is. And
So
it
we
is,
had a
it's
fun
windy
show.
at Augusta.
So what's the expected weather here this weekend?
Well,
There was sleet.
we're going to have
no, this is whole weekend.
you got a frost advisory.
Oh no!
Trash.
Yeah, it'd be cold in the morning and on Sunday morning, and then warm back up next week, and a chance of severe weather next week.
Lucas, I'm going to have
Back
to
in
drink
the
a lot
70s.
if you're going to have
Can't
me
sit
out
on
all
my
day in the
porch.
cold tomorrow.
Yep, till about, 1:30 in the morning?
This is the frosts we've been having. The frost we'll have this weekend is a little later in the year than we normally do. Typically, the end of the month, very 1st of April, is what it is, and it'll be about 10 days past that by the time we get to this frost, which should be the last of the season.
I can deal with the frost. The wind makes me nervous. I've got NATO PTSD, so anything outside of that I can deal with. But I'm sure that's not what I'm here to talk about today.
Well, I mean, we're just going to spitball a bunch of stuff here in a second. But Brett Kern, his love of weather, he would have been a meteorologist had the NFL not worked out in quite the career, 15 years.
No, he certainly has the training to. I mean, it's because he tried to simplify it for people listening, which it makes it a little more relatable when you think you can do what the 15-year pro at punter can do when he's just saying, yeah, it's all it is punt left, punt right, punt middle, and then you look at the charts that he's bringing into the locker room now that we're all allowed back in the locker room in the very near future, which will be exciting. And you understand just how much nuance goes in at every position, right? Especially when you get up there in your career and you're having to find different ways to win outside of just out-athleting people, which, by the way, we've got a tremendous example of that, who teed off about an hour ago in Tiger Woods, who is past the point where he can out-athlete people on a golf courses and having to win in different ways or trying to win in different ways. It's going to be really interesting to watch.
All right, so Blaine and I talked about this yesterday. What do you consider a success for Tiger Woods at the Masters? Because we believe it's this. If he plays okay today, makes the cut, and is playing into the weekend, regardless of where he finishes, I think that's a huge, major win for him and a huge sports story of the year.
Your standards are a lot higher than mine are, because I said if he teed off yesterday, that's a win. Guy should have had his leg amputated from the knee down.
Yeah.
He's out there playing in the biggest major of all of the majors, and he finished top 10 in the first round yesterday.
What was it you said, Blaine? You can't count that dude out.
Never bet against Tiger Woods.
I don't bet against Brady. I don't bet against Tiger. I don't bet against Saban. Everybody else, I'll fade them. I'll fade them till the end of time. Those three dudes, no, thank you.
But I just, what a story that would be if he does okay today and makes the cut. And we're going into the weekend with Tiger at Augusta.
He's the biggest story in sports. I mean, and it will continue to be. It is next to impossible for him to be doing this at his age, seeing all the different ways where he has been injured, played through torn ACLs, played through a rebuilt back, basically, and all of the lasting effects that have come as a result of that, played through so many different injuries, has trained with Navy SEALs because this guy is built differently and thinks differently and attacks differently than anybody else in his sport and anybody else outside of the names that you associate with greatness across any sport. Killers. when it comes to competitiveness, and that's something that's on display here today. He went out there, and as soon as he figured out that he wasn't going to embarrass himself in the practice rounds, he's like, okay, I can play. I can win this thing. That kind of mindset is something that only professional athletes can identify with, anybody at the top of their profession, the heights of competitiveness, and sometimes it can be to your detriment because you're putting your body through things that the human body is not meant to go through, i.e. Tiger Woods, who has put his body through more things than I think many professional athletes have ever, even as you don't associate golf with the kind of physicality and taxing nature of it. But, that's as clear and as obvious.
He's lived the life
to
of
anybody.
a professional wrestler, basically.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Even though he doesn't play a contact sport. The strain he's put on himself, sure.
No, this whole thing, it's going to be fascinating to watch. I'm going to be glued to my television set. Rhett, I know you're going to be out there doing the OTP tour, so you're not going to see all of it, but certainly
But I will be monitoring.
What are you talking about? You have the phone. You can do it when you got the free time when you're driving around.
That's
Wait,
right.
Listen, as long as it's mounted properly and you're not looking at it. And,
No,
don't check it at
they're
stoplights.
being drived around.
Yeah, we got a
You
bus.
have a chauffeur.
We have a bus.
So they're not going to be the ones driving.
we're
Let me
good.
get that clear. I knew you
Silly
wouldn't.
me.
If
No.
it's a nice enough bus, there may be a television with a satellite on it.
Silly me to think that Rhett Bryan would go anywhere without a chauffeur.
Oh yeah, because I'm so
He's big
bougie.
time.
Yeah.
Listen, you're the headliner, from what I understand.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's gonna be great.
Well, speaking of bougie, this leads right into what I'm talking about, so we can get on the Titans track.
Oh, I thought you were taking a
Come
shot
on,
at me.
bougie I am. GM Buck Rising. What would you pay if you were the GM of the Titans per year? You don't have to even go into how long it is and everything else. To my man AJ Brown. Right now
Average
today.
Average, you got to take
Based
the
off
injuries.
all the other numbers, injuries, you go through your explanation of why you're coming up with your number.
$23 million a year, I think, is a fair price point. He's only 3 years into his pro career. He obviously has a ceiling as good as any player who has ever played the position here in Tennessee. It will take some time for him to be regarded as one of the best players to do it for this franchise, but he is very, very capable of that. And, that's as much a product as some of the wide receivers or the wide receivers that have played here but haven't necessarily had the athletic talent that A.J. Brown has. He has the potential to do great things as a Tennessee Titan. He has missed games. He has played 16 games only once, and I understand that we're now in a 17-game regular season. But 16 games his rookie year. He dealt with the 2 knee scopes in 2020, still finished with 1,000 yards, which speaks to the ability to play through the kind of injuries that, football teams expect you to. And then last year derailed for a variety of different reasons, but still managed to be the most effective threat that they had in the passing game. It's as much about paying for what it does for your passing game as it is just paying A.J. Brown. Because there is no disputing, Blaine, when you watch the confidence that Ryan Tannehill has throwing to him as opposed to guys who he doesn't have that connection, that chemistry, that time spent working and repping out things. He missed the time coming into the San Francisco game, and what did he do in the San Francisco game? He dominated. 16 targets. He had 8 receptions on third down. The man was an absolute, I think it was 16 catches, not 16 targets. He was as unstoppable a force as any player that we had seen in the league last year in that particular game, and that's because
In the San Francisco game?
in the San Francisco game,
Okay.
on third down
Like this.
specifically.
Who's their corners?
Oh, yeah.
We
of
don't
course.
know them.
I do know. Josh Norman, who has suffered many embarrassments on the field at Nissan Stadium.
This is not the Josh Norman of but
He did it against the Colts, who also don't have a great secondary. There are, but Blaine, I think when you put the athletic talent and ability and chemistry that those two have, it is worth paying. Not the premium price, not the $30 million a year that Tyreek Hill is going to make on this extension, and what it evens out over the course of the extension. Given
That's
that
what you're comparing it to?
I'm comparing it to Devontae Adams at 28.5, Tyreek Hill at 30. You're looking at who just got the extension, Stephon Diggs, who I think it's just north of 26, if I remember the terms of the deal correctly. And the guaranteed money has been different for all of those guys. But the Jags brought this on everybody when they paid Christian Kirk top of market money.
He got $18 million a year or something.
It was north of 18. It was 4 years, 72. I'm not good at math, so that is something that I'm not going to attempt live on the air.
But he did not have a 1,000-yard season. I do know that.
Correct.
In a passing offense.
No, you're
by the
right,
way.
Blaine. Thank you for being
18
better at
million.
math than I am. $18 million a year. for a wide receiver who doesn't have the resume of any of those guys, including A.J. Brown.
Right. And that's kind of interesting. Is A.J. Brown, and I agree with all those principles as far as his connection with Tannehill, who may not be here after the season.
True.
By the way, you have to keep that and then have to develop chemistry all over again with a new quarterback. He definitely plays injured, and he shows up when he's out there. All right. Is he an actual top 10 wide receiver right now in the National Football League?
Without having a list of all the players of the position in
Just
front
think
of me.
about all the guys that got paid. And then think about the guys that are in his class. And then we can add Jefferson to that list.
Jefferson, and there will be,
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase.
The wide receiver talent is getting better and better every
year. So when
year.
you start looking at that, I go, man, he's kind of at 10, 11. I don't know. I want to say he's around 8 to 12, but I when you start naming the guys, he's not up there at the elite level.
He should, and again,
As great as he is, by the way, and I love his talent.
No, I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that at all. And you're correct. I mean, we're talking about the specialization and at every position, right? Guys are getting specialized at certain positions at a younger and younger age. That's why you're seeing, last year was as talented as deep a wide receiver crop as I've ever seen. And then we get to this year, and it's the same kind of conversation that started around quarterbacks as well, 7-on-7 and things of that nature. As we sit here today, he's probably top 15. Mm-hmm. Is probably the best way to look at it when you look at all of the different careers and resumes of guys. I mean, he's not had a better career at this point. Stephon Diggs is, I think, 4 or 5 years older. Stephon Diggs has played. He's been an all-pro caliber wide receiver. He's been to the Pro Bowl twice. AJ does have a Pro Bowl on his resume, but it was the 2020 Pro Bowl, so nobody remembers, right? Because it didn't happen. All of these things, I think, and also you have to account for, they don't have the volume here, Blaine, typically in the passing game that you do in other places. He's not going to get 80, 90 targets.
But that's not. I'm
offense.
Looking at it from the organization's point of view. That's not their issue. I mean, that you can't view it that way. If he was in the passing, Christian Kirk was in the passing offense, he still got more.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't use it. I just want to say talent is talent. Mm-hmm. So it's about you're going to get paid, and he's getting production. So whether his stats tell you that is his talent level, and then matching up what he does on the field in his offense match up to over top 10, basically 23 million would put him where? Top 5?
It wouldn't put him top 5, but he'd probably be like top 6 or 7. And at this point, you're basically in a race. It's almost not about, I don't want to say that it's not about that, Blaine, because it is. It's about
that's what the measuring stick you're using to pay them.
The measuring stick I'm using to pay them is what the market is paying these guys right now. And all I know is that Deebo Samuel is in all likelihood going to make more money than A.J. Brown.
I agree with that, but I think all Sports Track and Corey and everybody else, Joel Corey, they all say Deebo's going to get less and it's going to work against them playing running back. And I go, man, I don't see it that way.
I don't want to discount their information. Those guys study this. This is what their specialization is, right? So I don't want to discount that. All I'm saying is if you put DK, just like, I mean, Cooper Kupp is getting ready to have a contract come up too. You're basically in a race.
We didn't put him on the list.
You're right. You're basically in a race. You're in a race to go beat the next wide receiver contract, because regardless of whether you put the price point at top 10 or top 12 or top 5 or whatever, the next one is just going to inflate the market. So whether you think he's worth that value based on the talent and based on the resume, it's going to get that way as the market continues to inflate, because those guys are going to get paid in that ballpark, especially given that they're the top option on the team. It's going to be fascinating.
I agree with those things. I just think there's always a penalty. If we sign you early, you're going to have to take less. And that's just part of me as a GM. If I was a GM, this is how I'm going to work with you, how we go about our business. And I think this is why his agent is coming out and put these rumors to the Jets and have them come out here and talk about all these things about AJ is on the trade block and all those things. Because if we sign you early, because if they wait out the year, it's going to be more than $23 million.
Yeah, so you're saying we're going to give you good money. We're not going to give you street money.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly it. We do it a year ahead of time. There's a cause and effect to all of that now. I'm just giving it how I would be thinking if I'm a GM.
Correct.
So I would probably be around, you said 23. I would be 20 million.
on an average annual salary, they're going to have to make some
And he
some
probably
decisions
get
like
more
that.
than what you're saying, to be honest, once it all over said and done with even with the Titans.
Well, and much less when you consider the idea that at some point the bill on that whole draft class is going to come through, because it's not just
waiting.
AJ, it's David Long, it's Nate Davis, whether you deem him worthy of a second contract
And
or
Big
not.
Jeff.
And Jeff, you have a little wiggle room because that 5th year option, but not much, because that
Big
dude's
Jeff is going to get big bucks, big bucks.
I think it was on J. Mart
Yes.
and Ramon this morning, Lucas, that Mike Giannetti said between 25 and 30 million a year for Jeff.
For Jeff, I don't remember. I remember for AJ, him saying just south of 23.
I think I saw this morning. You may fact check me on the J. Martin Ramon Twitter handle, but I believe Mike Giannetti said 25.
Yeah, he's in a whole nother stratosphere. We're not talking about elite players. See,
And
that's
there's
what I'm
fewer
talking
of
about.
Jeff than there are of AJ.
Right. That's true too.
Here's
but,
the thing.
But he's on the elite plane though.
Here's
AJ
the
Brown
thing.
is not. That's why I asked you about the ranking.
Yeah.
Here's the thing I'm thinking if I'm AJ's agent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going, hey, 22 ain't going to play here forever. I'm going to have to carry some of this load down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So think about that when you're putting the stacks in my hand.
But when you say
Now,
that,
'cause they don't have a
it's not even
replacement
about-
for-
it's not even about 22. It's about the style of offense they run.
Right.
It doesn't matter who's back there behind it. They're still going to get the ball because that's the style Vrabel wants to run. So that Foreman proved that, as I said, that he wouldn't miss a beat.
And got $2 million
So
bucks.
that style of
Yeah.
offense is going to. So the attempts.
That's never going to go away wholesale.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Talking about how many balls he gets. That's not going to change unless you change your philosophy, which they can do in an offseason. They can,
They can. They won't.
but they won't. Right.
What I'm
See,
saying
so-
is he would say there's only one Derrick Henry. And
Right, yeah.
they would say,
Well,
but we have the running game.
right. They're going to say, you're right. There's going to be a combat to that,
Right.
you know, that so they're still, their offense is what it is. I've always advocated that they throw a little bit more than they have. I think he likes to be 50-50. When you always look at the end of the games, they're 50-50 most of the time. And so if they get to the 60-65 range and then maybe you start trusting Tannehill to play at that level, then he's at a comfort level when it going gets tough and they're in a playoff. He's used to throwing the ball more instead of forcing things and feel like he has to make a play.
Nick Westbrook-Akina in the playoff game. Oof.
Well, I wouldn't have threw to him, but that's, you know, me. I'm going to my guys. But at the same time, I go look at Aaron Rodgers. He throws at his guy. He was double teamed. The other receiver on the other side is wide open on the dig route that cost him the playoff game last year.
It is. I mean, this is the kind of thing that Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr. went through, right? How much was Baker making them worse because he was trying to force the ball to his best target? Now, in Tannehill and AJ's case, Rhett and Blaine, you guys can speak to this as well as I can, and probably better. That there's a degree of that there because he trusts it. And he didn't trust a whole lot around him last year.
This is true.
Understandably so.
Yeah, and that always plays a part in it. I guess my next question, I'm going to, we went all down the road for that, but I wanted to ask you about
That was better.
With all the mock drafts. They're saying, you know, now it's an inside linebacker.
That's right. N'Kobe Dean,
Yeah,
future
Dean.
Titan.
I mean, so what is your observation of that? I mean, which could happen. We all know anything can happen. You take the highest player on your board, rank it regardless if you need it or not. I was on a team that did the same thing. When we drafted Keith Bullock, we didn't need a linebacker. We had our whole starting unit. And as soon as he played one play, I said, who getting benched? So it was like, uh-oh.
Well,
So
but
it
how
can
long
happen.
did it take for Keith to get that opportunity?
Well, he didn't get the opportunity, but they put in a special package for him where they called it extra backer. Basically, was playing safety a la from
Yeah.
a linebacker position because he had played linebacker
Safety.
safety in college, and then moved to linebacker there with Donovan Darris. So it can happen, but man, I sure wish it wouldn't happen. I mean, man, would you rather do a linebacker that they really don't need or a quarterback that probably won't get to play?
Their board is what matters here, right? Because how do they have and best player available is typically the
I hear
strategy.
they're going to let you in the draft room too, by the way.
I'm going to Peter King it this year. Yeah, fat chance. Mike would kick my ass out of there so fast. But regardless, this is similar conversation. Well, not quite because the quarterback obviously has larger implications, but there would be some frustration if a quarterback was taken at 26 or if an inside linebacker was taken 26, right? Because fans are focused on this year. What are you going to do to win this year? And I'm not saying that John Robinson and Mike Vrabel are not.
You also have to plan for the future.
They just signed extensions. They're here for a minute. They're here beyond potentially Ryan Tannehill. They're here beyond potentially
So are you
David
saying
Long.
that they take more risks because now they're secure in their job?
I think they've taken risks and they've already been paid for it. Blaine, what do you call the last? Well, I don't want to say the last 2 years because Isaiah was different, but last year was a risk. Last year was a greater risk than Jeff Simmons was. Last year was a greater risk than Isaiah Wilson was. Even as we have the results after the fact. Farley is the greatest of the risks that I think they have taken. I understand why they did it, but when you look at all of the things that could have gone wrong with Caleb Farley, the idea that you're dealing with a player who had not played a ton of football because of opt-outs,
But it
that had
did
already
go
dealt
wrong.
with. No, it did. I know, that's what I'm saying. It's a risk. Largely. Point being, inside linebacker would be a head scratcher. But when I roll it out, no.
Let me say this as we say goodbye to you, Buck.
No, we just have him for a whole hour.
That's up to him on that part.
I love you, buddy, but I've done my hours today.
I wouldn't hate Nakobe Dean at 26.
He is a heck of a player now.
Knowing that you wouldn't get your two if you didn't trade down, but you're talking about the top 15 nationally recruited high school football player, Butkus Award winner, 74 tackles last year, led the team with 10.5 for a loss, 5.5, 6 quarterback sacks, forced fumbles, the whole deal, 3 down linebacker, could help you immediately. Obviously, you have 2 guys in front of him that are starters, in Zach Cunningham and David Long. But that dude, you could find a place for him for sure, and he's a good dude off the field by all accounts.
Yeah, the onus is put on them. If they do that, the onus is put on them to say, okay, you've got this hugely talented player. Deployment is on you. Figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's basically what they had to work through with Jayon Long and Cunningham last year, and Evans, where you saw Evans be a healthy scratch in the playoff game because he didn't give them the best advantage. You're playing matchups at that point.
Buck, thanks for visiting. Have a great weekend.
You too as well.
All right. He's brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, the non-commissioned salespeople place for sure, right out there, I-40 in Mount Juliet. All right. As we continue, we'll wrap up hour 1, and we'll get ready to talk some Masters next hour, and we'll certainly take your phone calls and questions, 615-737-1045.
So will Buck. He'll be here. Yeah. We got to ask him about the Willis visit.
Goodbye.
The Willis visit, man. We got to know about the quarterback visit.
Blaine and Mickey continue next here on 1045.
Thanks, Buck.
What a lovely Friday afternoon. I don't care if it is kind of rainy and overcast outside and cool. It's sunny and 70 inside the studios of 104.5 The Zone. Rhett Bryan filling in for Mickey Ryan, who is taking much-needed time off, spending some time with the sun out in St. Louis. Taking BP practice. That's right. Blaine Bishop right here. Lucas Panzica making it happen behind the glass. And your phone calls could also make this thing roll if you want to call us at 615-737-1045. So we've been talking about A.J. Brown, Blaine, and obviously we talked about it yesterday about who I thought the next 4 wide receivers will be that will be paid. And certainly Cooper Kupp, we forgot about him.
Man.
You know he's going to get a mega deal. They're going to have to figure something out there. But I think the greater question is come 3 weeks from now on that Thursday night, April 28th, and this is the kind of stuff we never know behind the curtain. It's never revealed because John Robinson keeps that stuff very close to the vest. But what if, hypothetically, a New York Jets call and they want A.J. Brown and they want him something awful? They want him bad. And John Robinson has always said, I'm open for business. My phone is available. Give me a call.
But didn't he recently say that he's not taking calls?
On A.J. Brown.
Right, that's what, because I said you're always taking calls. It doesn't matter.
That's your job.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, I mean, even if you don't want to hear it, you're going to listen.
My question is this. What is the tipping point? Because if somebody does something silly and makes him, to borrow Don Corleone's line from The Godfather, an offer he can't refuse, what's the tipping point? Because we saw
like Tyreek Hill type deal.
Tyreek Hill got 5 draft picks out of that deal, and there's got to be a tipping point somewhere.
Maybe that's what we should start the next segment on. Would you trade 5 picks like the Tyreek Hill type deal? And then now you can not only get 1 AJ, you may get 2 AJs in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, look, stranger things have happened. Now, do I anticipate that A.J. Brown is still going to be here and they're going to extend him and he's going to keep making big plays? I wouldn't bet against that, but stranger things have happened. Let's go to some audio here. We mentioned this on the show yesterday, that Mike Vrabel was on the Rich Eisen show and was asked about A.J. Brown and whether he's on the trading block or not. And here is what Mike Vrabel said on the Rich Eisen show.
Is A.J. Brown on the trade block? Mike Vrabel?
As long as I'm the head coach. I love AJ professionally, personally. I've gotten to know him well as his coach and enjoy seeing him as much as I possibly can. So, saw him here working out here earlier. Said hi. So, as long as I'm the coach here, I would want to have AJ Brown on my football team.
Now, there's some context there we know because of the mental health issues that AJ shared and how he was feeling in a very, very bad place. And, Mike Vrabel talking about, listen, if you care about somebody and you ask how you doing, be willing to stand there and listen to how they're doing, good, bad, or indifferent. And so they have a huge bond because of those kinds of things. And certainly what he does on the field, what coach wouldn't love that? But that was his answer on Rich Eisen. So as long as I'm head coach, he's going to be right here.
And all I'm going to say is this before we go to break. Jonnu Smith, BB out.
Let's try.
He loved Jonnu Smith more than any player I've ever heard him even talk about.
He mentioned him frequently, and because Jonnu was a fantastic person off the field and put in the extra work on the practice field every day.
Does he have a Titan Derek on his helmet right now? Yeah. There you go. This is all about that business. This is about that cheddar, and if you can get collateral and you get a lot, they're not going to pass it up. I'm not going to say he's not going to be in a Titans uniform because that opportunity may not exist. But we got to, sparks and cut through some of the worst. Things change over time. You don't know. I don't know the health of him. Is it, his injuries bother them? It may not at all. Right. Or is this just his agent just, drumming up a lot of things? Now we're hearing about Debo now more, and then Metcalf was before AJ. So I think there's more of that than anything else. But as an athlete, you never know what's going to happen because until it's signed on the dotted line, are you going to be a Titan for a long time? So
let's do this. I think that's a great idea. When we come back from break, let's take a look at who a couple of the trade partners could be and what we think might be the tipping point, just hypothetically, because hour 2 of Blaine and Mickey rolls on. We'll have David Head, the head golf coach at Trevecca, to talk Masters at 2:20. We'll have Preds tickets to give away at 2:20, and we'll have Call Your Shot to round out the show in the week. So it's all on the way on Blaine and Mickey here on 104.5 The Zone.
My glutes are firing.
2 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. Now a Seymour Putters Masters update. 4 golfers tied for the lead right now in Augusta at 3 under. It is Charles Schwartzel, Sungjae Im, Danny Willett, and Joaquin Niemann. Schwartzel and Im both done for the day, scoring a 69 and a 74, respectively. Tiger Woods, a slow start on day 2 after going 1 under on Thursday. A bogey on 3 of his first 4 holes. Tiger currently sits at 2 over. The Nashville Predators back in action at Bridgestone Arena tomorrow, 5 p.m. puck drop, hosting the Florida Panthers, coming off a nice night in Ottawa last night, a 3-2 win over the Senators, in which Roman Josi picked up 3 assists and broke the franchise record for points in a season with 68. College baseball this weekend, top-ranked Tennessee back in Lindsey Nelson Stadium hosting a series against the Missouri Tigers. Vols looking to remain undefeated in SEC play. Game 1 tonight at 5:30. And the Vandy boys at Auburn this weekend, first pitch tonight at 6 p.m. Nashville Soccer Club has 3 games remaining in the 8-game road trip to open the season before coming home to Geodis Park on May 1st. Saturday night, NSC is at Sporting Kansas City for a 7:30 kickoff. The club announced on Thursday single-game tickets for the May 1st home opener against Philadelphia quickly sold out, but that there are still season tickets available. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
One hour down, 1 to go. Another town, one more show. Rhett Bryan in for Mickey Ryan on Blaine and Mickey. The hitman Blaine Bishop right here, ready to roll in hour 2. And if you're just joining us, we've been talking about A.J. Brown, as most people have in the last few days, because of the increase in contracts with wide receivers. And so I posed the question at the end of last hour, what would be the tipping point? Who would be the trade partner? And this is all hypothetical, but is there a tipping point where somebody just gets silly and offers something that John Robinson can't refuse? And what got me to thinking about that was, Tyreek Hill. I mean, that whole transaction, Kansas City got 5 draft picks out of that. 3 this year, 2 next year.
Well, the Dolphins had a lot of picks, too, by the way.
That's right.
I think they were holding them for Deshaun Watson. They decided to go a different direction.
Yeah.
Last year and going into the season. So I think they had a lot of collateral.
And that shows you got to have the partner to tango. Mm-hmm. Takes 2 to tango. So I looked during the break, and I looked at 2 teams. One, obvious, the New York Jets, because that's the thing that keeps surfacing about wanting a wide receiver. And, they've talked about, there's been rumors about DK Metcalf. There's been rumors about A.J. Brown. And I said to you yesterday on the show, what in the world are they thinking? Because they got picks 4 and 10 overall in the first round. The Jets do. They could get him at A.J. Brown and have him under a rookie contract and keep trucking. But if these rumors are true, let's pretend like they're calling John Robinson on the phone. So here's their picks. And I didn't even go to the late rounds. They have picks 4 and 10 in round 1. They have picks 35 and 38 in round 2.
Ooh.
They also have picks 69, 109, 115, 145, and 169. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They got 8 picks in the first 170 picks. Now, you talk about some capital. They got it. So what would you think would be an offer, hypothetically again? Like, what if they said, we'll give you 10 and we'll give you 38 and one of these later picks down here, 115, 145, something like that. What if they said like that?
A first, a second. Where's 115?
That would be round 4. Yeah. I mean, golly, that's
a first, a second, and a fourth, man.
That's a lot.
I don't have a second already going into the draft. So
that's right. And they've got 2 right there at 35 and 38.
I can get 10. Oh, okay. What do I do with 10? Do I get me another receiver, the best one on the board? Possibly.
Yeah.
Or do I go quarterback, looking down the road for the future?
Or do I get the next tackle for the Titans?
Tackle. Yeah, or do you get the best guard? Maybe not that high, but Chance
Sure.
Womack was a 10.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of options there. And then can you get someone to saddle the horse for you as a veteran receiver? There are some out there you just kind of went through the list that are, you know, maybe not as good and not as young, but they definitely have a couple years and can be productive in
Now,
this league.
the
So
Philadelphia
ooh.
Eagles.
Ooh, man, I don't know. It's tempting.
I know. That's why I'm saying we'll never know what the tipping
That's why.
point is.
That's why John Robinson won't take the call.
Because it just might be too good.
Man,
Philadelphia did some
dang, I love
finagling.
him, but
Philadelphia, the Eagles did some finagling the other day and did a trade with the
Saints.
New Orleans Saints, and they've jockeyed their position where they've got 2-1s this year and 2-1s next year.
the Saints do, or
No,
the Eagles?
The Eagles do.
Oh, well, the
after this
Eagles
trade.
are planning for if it doesn't work out with Hurts after this season, then they got an option to get
what
a
is
quarterback
supposed
high.
to be a deeper quarterback class.
Right.
So they got 15 and 18 in round one. Oddly enough, they have pick 51 in round two, which is exactly where A.J. Brown was taken
Oh,
in 2019. They have pick 83 and 101 in round three, and they have a 124 overall in round four. I didn't even get to all their picks, but I mean, that's 6 picks in the first 125 selections.
that's a dream for a GM.
You better believe it.
Yeah, I can go any direction, and I can, put a couple of those drafts, picks to move up if I want to, or I can move back and get more.
Well, yeah, because you got 2 1s,
Yeah.
and then a middle round 2. Sure,
Oh, man.
sure.
So, that was.
So
It would
you
take
just-
at least 3 picks, 1 or 2, and maybe 4.
Yeah.
I
So
think
let's
I would
say
serious
let's
consideration
say
for me.
18, 51, and 124 from the Eagles. Golly, man, that's. I mean, I'm not John Robinson. I don't pretend to know anything about what he does.
AJ Brown.
That's-
I mean,
that's-
and I'm
I
sure
should
just like the
preface
fans
it-
do.
I should have prefaced it by saying that I love AJ Brown.
Yeah, especially with the Titans. But
And
some
golly,
things-
I hope he's here for a long time. But like I keep saying, stranger things have happened.
Oh man, yeah, I think I would probably take the deal. Really,
I mean, golly.
yeah. Which is just you better be guns a blazing, especially and you're a GM and you feel in Vrabel they've signed extension, so I don't think they feel like this is a make or break type of a deal for their careers as the head coach and GM. So they're in a very secure position. This is the time if you're gonna roll the dice and make some moves and you believe in and passionate that this makes your team better and gets you over the hump. Then I think you make the move if you feel comfortable with it.
And when you're looking at this wide receiver class, I mean, there's some AJ type guys out there. There's some different kind of guys. I mean, there's all shapes, sizes, and little fast slot guys, and there's big physical receivers. 2 of the more bigger physical receivers that rated around near the top of the draft or in the first 30, 40 picks would be Drake London from USC and Traylon Burks from Arkansas that I keep talking about.
Yeah. I like both of those guys. And I know Burks a little bit more, just a whole lot more, actually, just because I've watched him in the SEC.
Sure.
So I don't know a lot about the London kid besides he's a big target.
Well,
great
if you're like
catch
me,
radius and
if you're
everything
like
else.
me and USC comes on at 9 o'clock our time,
Yeah.
I'm not watching all
Yeah.
that. I'm
So that's-
asleep.
that's a disadvantage for them as far as me getting a chance to watch them. Just being that he's from the South, I just think he would fit in a little bit better. And by the way, even if London's rated ahead of him, if I feel like if I was a GM, that if I did trade and I had all these picks and at number 10, I wouldn't have an issue with taking Burks at 10. I really wouldn't. As much as that is reaching, well, guess what you did with Corey Davis? You did somewhat similar, the same thing. Because it was just a guy that you liked and it was on the board and maybe you got caught to where somebody else got taken off the board right before your pick, and you say, hey, man, this guy's maybe he can develop into something special. Didn't work out, but you got 4 quality years out of him.
Well, and to your point, if you look at the wide receiver, and hypothetically,
Remember,
on his draft,
I'm the person who said I draft all SEC guys too, by the way.
well,
To make my scouting
Listen, I don't have
department
any
real
art-
easy. Just work for the South.
I
And then guess what? It helps me get those ticket sales up too. I went on both sides.
yeah, and guess what? You get some really good talent out of that conference, as we well know. I don't have a problem with that at all.
You
That's
just
fine by me.
Gotta, scout 14 teams. That'll get you fired.
But, to your point, hypothetically on his war room board, if Traylon Burks is the first guy he likes, there it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's
Those
how I
pods of players, and if that's the top wide receiver in pod 1, then hey, here it is. Pull the
I don't
trigger,
know the
right?
order of the teams right now off the top, but I know Dallas for sure loves him. He loves all those Arkansas guys because he's
An
and
alum,
everything. Yeah,
yes.
so I think he's around the 20s. But some people, oh, that's too high. Hey, well, if you like the guy and you think you can help the team, and you got that pick in the trade, you got to make sure you replace that player, and somewhat similar style player, just a part taller, that you think can work in the same position that he did. Just to secure it, and then you keep it moving, and then you got a second pick at 26. Oops. What do I go there? Oh, I get a tackle, guard.
Quarterback?
Let us dare not say.
I mean, we're going down the hypothetical highway here.
Yeah. So would you be upset if, they took a quarterback with the 26th pick too? And even if you had no trade with the fans, I mean.
I think that's an interesting question.
Ooh, man. If you were not happy with Tannehill, even though if you drafted one of these guys at quarterback at 26, would you be happy? Knowing he wasn't going to start this year, and probably, unless something happened, knock on wood, to Tanny time.
Well, for me, I mean, I want somebody that can contribute if possible at
right
26. Yeah. I want, so knowing that Ryan Tannehill was more than likely the quarterback in 2022, I would shy away from that. Now, maybe
do you think the fans would be upset about that? They're not too happy with Tannehill now. I'm cool with Tannehill.
I am too,
But
I think
at
there's
least one
I
more
think there's
year.
I think there's a group of folks that would be thrilled with something like that. I think there is. I think there's some animosity there. Sure, I'm good with 17, but
He's not gonna play. Not gonna contribute.
Only time will tell.
Has there been a first-round pick under JR and Vrabel that didn't, besides Farley, I know he had the injury, outside of him, that didn't contribute, that was actually healthy under their regime?
Not that I can think of.
I know Big Jeff was injured too, but
Right.
he came later in the season.
Right. Yeah, he was playing quite a bit by week.
So we've had Radens as a second-round pick, and did he start? As at quadruple zero, as I called him.
No,
he did not start. I don't think he did. There's a second rounder, so that's not first round, but that's two. And I'm sure there was some other ones we just can't think of. But
And here's the thing about anybody that wants to play armchair GM.
It's hard now.
There are hits and misses on every one of the 32 teams.
But that brings you to a point. I don't understand. How then do you judge a GM? Is it just based off the wins and losses? How do you judge this? What percentage do you put on the GM right now as far as his success rate?
Yeah.
Is he a 70% success rate? Because if you ask any GM, they would say 50-50. I'm like, well, 50-50 in the classroom, that's an F. That is not the same scale that you're going to have for a GM.
That's right. Hey, we got to give tickets away right here, right, Lucas? Is that right? All right. So here we go. Smashville, Nashville Predators regular season. It is coming to a close. 104.5 The Zone has your chance to win tickets to cheer on the Preds as they make their postseason push. The Window Nation ticket window is now open. Be caller 5 for your chance to win tickets to see your Nashville Predators take on the San Jose Sharks next week, April 12th. Fifth caller, 615-737-1045. Tickets for the remaining Nashville Predators home games are available. For information, go to NashvillePredators.com/tickets. And on the way, we're going to talk Masters with Trevecca golf coach David Head as we talk Tiger and all the rest of the field playing in Augusta when Blaine and Mickey continue here on 104.5 The Zone. Pink Floyd bringing you back on Blaine and Mickey on a Friday afternoon. Rhett Ryan in for Mickey Ryan. Blaine Bishop is ready to roll here as we continue on hour 2. Congratulations to Roger Cuttrell, who won the Preds tickets to see the Preds take on the San Jose Sharks next week on April 12th. And the Masters are underway, and the bogeys are aplenty for Tiger Woods as we go now to the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline and join the head coach for golf at Trevecca University, David Head. David, thanks for joining us. Here, you guys had a really good week last week, hosted the Music City Invitational, had a great time, and really performed well.
Yeah, and a guy named Blaine won it all, right?
That's right. Hey, guys. Thanks
Thank
for
you. I
having
appreciate
me.
you. Thanks, Coach, for teaching me a lot. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a good weekend last weekend, and we're right in the middle of our college season, and we got some big events coming up the next couple of weeks. So we're hitting our stride, and it's a lot of fun this time of year.
So the Masters are underway at Augusta, and the world watched Tiger Woods hit maybe the best remarkable 71 in round 1 ever in the tournament because of what he's come back from in the last 14 months. Your impressions, since you're involved in the game, of what 46-year-old Tiger Woods has done so far?
Well, it's just remarkable. I mean, obviously he's, if not the best player in the history of the game, certainly one of them. And what he's overcome physically with car accident and all the back surgeries and all that kind of stuff, it's just amazing. I mean, I don't know that anybody could have predicted what he's doing and or as well as he's playing, and it's so much fun to watch. He does so much for the game of golf, and he is the needle mover when it comes to professional golf, and it's great to see him playing well, and it's great to see him back walking the fairways at Augusta National.
Just to add to that, just on a Tiger Woods note, did you see him, compensating on anywhere or parts of his game? I know he hasn't played in a while, but some people were saying on hole 18 was the first time they saw him open the gate and trying to use his upper body more because his legs were getting fatigued. I'm not an expert. You are. I guess kind of take us through what you saw, even if it was just on the last hole.
Yeah, well, first of all, that's his golf game, the game that he's playing looks to be in great shape. I mean, he's hitting some fantastic shots, but for those that have never been to Augusta National, that is a difficult walk. I mean, it is hilly, it is long, and so I can't even imagine what it's like when you are 100% healthy, much less coming back from what he's come back from physically, and so I think his golf game is fine. Just when you're under that stress of walking that much on a difficult golf course, you're just going to have to kind of piece together whatever you can and do the best that you can. And so he's just out there, he's got, so many rounds worth of experience, and he's played there in that tournament. And so he knows where to hit it and where not to hit it. And when he's not hitting his best, he knows how to get away with that. And that's certainly an attribute, and that's going to serve him well today in tough conditions, and it's going to serve him well over the weekend if he were to make the cut.
Yes, if he makes the cut. Do you believe he makes the cut? I'm probably a believer that his glutes won't fire and he won't make the cut. Yeah, never let that down.
I don't know if you guys have gotten a chance to watch any of it today on the
he's had a couple
the
bogeys,
Masters
right?
app or whatever, but he's not off to a very good start. But if anybody can overcome difficult circumstances and bad breaks and tough conditions, it's him. And I don't know. I'm not a betting man.
Never would bet against Tiger, right?
Never bet against Tiger. I will say that, yes.
Well, what about the other guys that's on the leaderboard? I think we got Scheffler, Smith. I mean, who do you think is going to win the tournament, outside of Tiger, and all the Tiger talk? But whose game is going to be unfazed, do you think, and have a great shot on the final day?
Well, I tell you, just looking at the leaderboard, there's 4 or 5 names on there of guys that have already won it in the past. And I think of any other tournament, Augusta National and the Masters, there's so much value in having been successful there in the past. And so I always look to the guys who have already won, who have overcome that and mentally and that physical challenge. And so guys like Hideki Matsuyama and Dustin Johnson, Those guys have played so well. I actually picked Dustin Johnson to win it myself, and so I'm glad to see him playing well. But with the weather conditions the way they are today, and I think forecasted for tomorrow, you can be 6 or 7 or 8 shots back after today and still have a chance. So it's really tough out there. But I think experience is huge. I think being able just to manage yourself is really important, and manage your misses around that golf course. And Dustin Johnson, again, I watched some of the coverage this morning, and he really did not play very well, but he just managed himself today. And he was able to hold on to it and keep a decent round from not getting away from him, and it looks like he's going to be in good shape going into the weekend.
Well, with the wind conditions, real quick, I guess, what would you expect today's scores to be like?
Well, I think even par today for anybody is a fantastic score. I think after yesterday, 5 under was leading total. But I would be surprised if anybody is at 5 under at the end of today total. So I would say if you're 3 or 4 under par for the 2 days combined, you're going to be in great shape going into the weekend.
We're on with David Head, Trevecca's director of golf, which is the head coach, right?
That's right. And leaderboard update as Tiger Woods, he's 3 over right now through 6 holes. The aforementioned by David Head, Hideki Matsuyama is tied for 4th through 5 holes at 2 under, and Dustin Johnson is finished with his round, and he is sitting at 2 under and also tied for 4th there. With that wind blowing through there, they had a couple inches of rain 2 nights, or night before last, I guess, before they started round 1. The wind has certainly dried the course out. That's where these greens and these fairways become super, super fast. I guess that leans more towards your thought of where actual scores will be by the time we get into the weekend.
Yeah, for sure. That golf course it's obviously very, very difficult under perfect weather conditions, but you throw in some difficult weather conditions and it just gets really, really, really difficult. And, being able to hit your golf ball in the right spot, we call it in golf, a good miss, being able to hit the golf ball in places not necessarily right at the flag, but leaving yourself in a spot where you can play your next shot. That's going to be crucially important. And again, I think that's what goes back to the experience. Having played there before, having won there before, is going to serve those guys well. But yeah, that golf course is firm and fast, and it's going to continue to get firmer and faster. And it's fun for us to watch on TV, but it's probably not as much fun to be out there playing, to be honest with you.
You ever had a chance to play at Augusta?
No, I've never been there. I've never been there to play. I've been to several Masters tournaments over the years, but I've never been there to play. And very few people do get that opportunity. And if I ever do get the call to come down and play, I'm probably going to pretty much drop anything and everything to go.
Absolutely. What is it like? I've always wanted to go, never been. It's a place all of its own, isn't it?
Well, it is. It is. It's special. It's almost really undescribable. You can't tell somebody who's never been what it's like. You just kind of have to go. But I've been blessed in my life. I've been to World Series, and I've been to NHL hockey games, and I've been to NBA playoff games, and of sporting events at the Masters, it's tough to beat. The respect the patrons have for the players and for the grounds and for the history of the game, it's just amazing. It's just a very unique experience. The golf course is just beautiful as you see pictures on TV, and it's super hilly golf course. It's up and down, but it's just a magical place. And if you're a golf fan, even if you're not a golf fan, it's just a magical, magical place. And every year when Augusta Masters rolls around, it's certainly a lot of fun to watch, and those in the golf world certainly look forward to it with anticipation every year.
We're on with Trevecca's director of golf, David Head. I guess I want to ask a couple more questions, and that is, take us through the mindset, because it's such a mental game. We're watching on TV. We can't see the the greens and how they're laying and how hilly it is and everything else. But just how do you take in the weather condition, your driver, your swing? How many different thoughts are going through your head besides understanding the course and how it's being read? Kind of take us through what you do to prepare going into a tournament, and then throughout the tournament, what are your thoughts? Because it's fascinating to me.
Yeah, well, certainly, with the game of golf, there's different aspects of the game of golf. You've got your putting, you've got your chipping, you've got your irons, you've got your driving. And so in order to win at a place like Augusta National, you have to have your A game in all facets of the game of golf. You can't just be a good putter or just a good driver of the golf ball. You have to have all aspects of your game clicking. And so those guys are working on everything they can do to prepare to have all parts of their game ready to go when they get there. And then once you get there, not only do you have to have the physical parts of your game ready, but you also got to be mentally prepared. And that's a hard golf course to mentally prepare for. Like I said before, it takes a lot of experience around to play that golf course well. And then you throw in difficult weather conditions like they're going through. It takes so much patience. You just have to understand that you're going to make bogeys. You're going to get bad breaks, and you just got to be able to mentally have the discipline to overcome those things. If you can keep from avoiding double bogeys and triple bogeys and prevent those numbers from being on your scorecard on difficult weather conditions like they're playing, then you're going to be in pretty good shape. Bogeys don't necessarily hurt. Certainly birdies are good, but bogeys don't hurt. But double bogeys and triple bogeys and worse are killers on days like today.
What's some featured holes, I guess, that'll be difficult when I'm watching? I know they kind of changed the hole locations, but, if I'm watching as a novice golf guy, what would you say? Oh, man, this hole is going to be tough. I mean, which one of those, holes should I be watching?
Yeah, well, certainly Amen Corner is a lot of fun to
Amen. Okay.
a lot of fun to watch. That's part of the Augusta National lore is that Amen Corner, which is hole 11, the second shot on hole 11, the hole 12, which is the par 3, and then the 13th hole. So the 11th hole, they made some changes this year to it, and they've lengthened it. It's always been a very difficult hole, but this year I think in particular it's really playing difficult just because of the added length. And I think today the wind direction is blowing right back into their face at about 20 or 25 miles an hour. So it just is going to make it really, really long. And, it's a par 4, but I think a 5, anything lower than a 5 is going to be a really, really good score on that hole for those players today. And like I said, they just got to avoid the big numbers. They got to avoid hitting it in the water there short of that green in that pond and figure out a way to make a 5 or better, and they'll be in good shape coming out of that hole.
Appreciate it. David Head from Trevecca, Director of Golf at Trevecca.
Thank you for joining us. Appreciate your time, and we, like you, will be watching the Masters this weekend. I'll be watching it with or without Tiger, and if Tiger's there, I will definitely be watching it.
Oh, yeah.
I agree. Hey, fellas, I appreciate you having me, and you guys have a great rest of your day.
Yeah,
Hey,
best of
good luck.
luck to you in the rest of your season, too.
Yeah, no
Thanks.
doubt. Good luck.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Appreciate it.
Great insight there.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I've always been told television never does that thing justice, and it looks beautiful on television.
Yeah.
Every blade of grass, every shrub, every tree,
That's the same
every.
people that cut your grass.
Oh, of course, yeah. Yard of the year right here. Yeah.
Definitely not mine.
There's not,
My
man,
grass
there
is yellow
ain't
and
enough
long
money in
right
the
now.
world to keep all that up like that. But look, and Hideki Matsuyama birdied a while ago, so he's at 3 under right now.
Uh-oh.
And we have a new leaderboard too. Yeah, a new leader at the top of the board.
Will it?
Is it Willett or Willette?
Danny Willett.
Danny Willett.
By the way, the Masters dinner they do before the tournament where the winner from the year before picks the menu. Hideki Matsuyama had probably the best menu that I've ever seen for the pre-Masters dinner on Wednesday.
Do tell. What was it?
Oh, appetizers of sushi, Japanese Wagyu beef, Japanese strawberry shortcake.
Okay.
It was amazing.
Wow.
Dang,
Okay.
Sounds like my kind of party.
And then did he have the band Japanese Breakfast playing?
I don't know.
That was up for a Grammy the other night?
I don't know.
Okay.
Were they
that
up
was
for a Grammy?
That was a dad joke. Yeah, I think they were.
You a golfer? Do you golf?
Not well, but I do enjoy it.
Well, I mean, you're right there with everybody else.
I live like paces away from Vinny Links in East Nashville, so I don't have any excuse to go pay $10, to not go pay $10 to play 9 holes. So I'm trying to get back into it.
They just showed, flashed up where the predicted cut is at 4 over. And Tiger is at 3 over. So I think the top, 57 players is what they had there. So he's right there at it. Now he's through
close.
6 or 7 holes, so he's still on the front 9. There's a lot of time to go this afternoon, and I still say and listen, David Head, who we had on from Trevecca, never count out Tiger. You said it. You've said it all day. Never count him out.
Yeah, but I'm counting him out because I'm calling my shot. He doesn't make the cut.
Well, we're gonna do that here in a few minutes.
Man, yeah, we got to think about that.
Look at the crowds.
I really believe the fatigue is going to set in, but man, he still looks the same as yesterday. It's just not going his way. So, as David
doesn't seem to
said,
have the pep in his step today.
You got to be patient, and that's probably why I'm not a real good golfer.
I have zero
See
patience,
ball,
so I
get
guarantee
ball.
you I'm not I told you yesterday, the last time I tried to play golf was getting my golf merit badge when I was about 15, 16 years old. I said, no, I'm done.
What happened? I played the same course. The holes are in the same location. I'm playing like poop.
Spring Golf Classic, y'all going to get out there?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great time to mention that. And that is Monday, April 25th, 1045 The Zone's annual Spring Golf Classic. This one's at Old Natchez Country Club. And there are very limited availability with flights. So please go to 1045thezone.com and check out the details. There are chances for you to sign up for celebrity rounds with the likes of Titans great Keith Bullock and Titans wide receiver Nick Westbrook-Akina. But that is coming up soon, Monday, April 25th at Old Natchez Golf Course, the Spring Classic from 1045 The Zone. So with that in mind, we're going to come back and wrap up the week of Blaine and Mickey here on 1045 The Zone with Call Your Shot presented by Chattanooga Whiskey. It's all on the way on 1045 The Zone. Oh, some eminence front from the Who. 104.5 The Zone. Blaine and Mickey. Rhett Bryan finishing up, filling in for Mickey the last couple of days. Blaine, the Hitman Bishop, is over here to my left.
In the house.
He is in the house. Danny Willett is your leader at Augusta right now, and he has 4 under par, but he had a kind of a crazy shot there on 10 that went left of the bunker. He's up in the deep rough there.
That was Willett?
Yeah. The wind is really wreaking havoc with these players today, as the wind has dried out the course from the previous night's severe weather and 2 inches of rain, and these greens are getting really fast. Hideki Matsuyama is currently in second place at 3 under there. So there's your Masters update. It is time now, as we going to wrap up the show for the week. Call your shot, presented by Chattanooga Whiskey. Drink responsibly. And any of you out there want to call your shot, 615-737-1045. Blaine Bishop, what is calling your shot this weekend?
Well, I've been hitting around all day, especially talking to Coach Head there from Trevecca, his director of golf. He thinks the cut's going to be +4. Right now, Tiger's at +3. I'm going to play the odds. I know it's hard to bet against Tiger, but I'm going to say he doesn't make the cut.
All right, that's your shot. Lucas Panzica, what is your shot, sir?
I'm going to go with the mullet. I'm going to go with Cameron Smith to win the Masters. Got off to a great start yesterday. He's fallen a little bit back here. He's 2 back of the lead, I think, at 2 under. But
is that the kid we just saw with the blonde mullet
yes,
and the mustache?
From Australia, yeah. That's
wow.
Cameron Smith. I wanted to go Dustin Johnson to kind of go off of Coach Head's pick. He's a much smarter man than me when it comes to this. But I don't know. Cameron Smith. I'm going to ride with Cameron Smith. Because
I'm like, that dude, he has got a Missouri waterfall in the back and got business in the front and then got a sweet blonde mustache.
And the best part is, I think he said yesterday in his interview after the first round that he had to get his mullet cleaned up for the Masters. So that's the cleaned up version of his mullet.
So it was much shaggier before he came to Augusta. All right. Sure. I guess he was working the full Billy Ray Cyrus before he got there.
I go with the winner, though. I'm going to go Scheffler. Is that his name?
Scotty Scheffler.
Not Bryson DeChambeau.
DeChambeau.
Not him.
All right, I'm calling my shot, and I'm going with Tiger. I think because he's still on the front 9, I say he makes the cut.
Never bet against Tiger.
I'm never betting against him. He's in territory right now, and he's riding a fine line, but there's still got the back 9 in this thing, and I say he makes the cut.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, he looks. I'm gonna say he looks pretty much the same as yesterday. It's just now some of the shots aren't going for him. There's a lot of wind conditions out there, so he looks.
He's got a lot
so.
working against him, and the weather is part of it.
Yeah, but hey, everybody does, but he has some other elements. But we shall see. I hope he does, though. I really do. What a heck of a story.
Yeah, it's just seeing him play yesterday is really amazing. I mean,
to me, he's already passed everything that he made. He
looked,
well,
you heard
he could compete.
Buck said earlier here on the show, he's like, I didn't even think he'd get out of the tee box. I didn't think he would be there. Yeah. And again, you look at the wreckage of his vehicle, and then I remember that first video posted with him with crutches or whatever it was when he was getting home, and I'm like, wow.
I thought he was done.
You said his leg would have been akin to what happened to Alex Smith of the Washington Commanders,
that's
who had
crazy.
a compound fracture, compound fracture, spiral fracture, all that stuff. Yeah, you said that stuff was. I hadn't seen that. I don't think I want to.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable, man. He almost lost his leg, really.
Got an infection or something. I don't know if it was MRSA or staph or whatever.
So him to come back was pretty remarkable for me.
Incredible. Because that's the thing about the drive in these guys to want to come back. There's he could
have just said, "No, I'm gonna just be a celebrity golfer from here. I'll do the
and I'll endorse this, that, and the other, and I'll make $50 million a year, and I'll go to the house." Right,
man. But man, this guy, he's different. He's special.
But when you want to win more than you want anything in the world, I guess that's the fuel.
I wonder what I wonder if he wants to break the record. Is he tied with the?
He is in majors. He is right there in the neighborhood with the Golden Bear.
Yeah, he's behind. He's
won
3 back.
Three back.
Okay,
I think that's what his drive is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's also never missed the cut at the Masters. I think 22 of 22.
Oh,
so
wow. I did not know that one. Huh.
And keeping in mind, with him being a multiple winner, he can play there anytime he wants. Once you do that, you're in. And, so many people are trying to get in. But, man, for me, it's hard to believe he's 46 years old. Man, I remember 1995, 96, 97. I'm like, this dude's amazing. And he was just a pup then.
What was he, like 18 or something?
I think he was 19 when he won the Masters in 97. I don't know, whatever.
He was a phenom.
He was a phenom. I'd never seen anything like it. And I remember him going on the Johnny Carson show with his dad when he was a little kid, doing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was a little bitty guy.
Oh, wow.
And, of course, Johnny Carson was an avid golfer, and they would put up, putting greens or whatever there in the studios in Los Angeles. And, but yeah, he was Johnny Carson was fascinated with him. Young Eldrick Tiger Woods.
Like toddler Tiger.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
We shall
what
see.
do you got on tap for the weekend, Blaine?
Oh, nothing much, man.
Just gonna watch
I'm watching
the
Tiger.
Masters?
Oh, my bad. He won't make the cut. I'm going to see who going to win the Masters.
I'm going out on the OTP
I'm gonna do-
hometown tour.
Oh, well, yeah, that's going to be fun.
That's going to be a lot of fun. If you go to TennesseeTitans.com to see if you can get yourself a ticket to that thing. But we'll be in Columbia, Tennessee tomorrow afternoon at 3 at the Columbia Welcome Center, and on Sunday at Martin's Barbecue at 4th Avenue South. I think also at 3. Myself, Coach Mack, Mike Keith, Amy Wells.
the
And
crew.
we'll be glad to see you. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun. Going to record an official Titans podcast. So, hey, I've enjoyed filling in for Mickey
Well, I
with you the
appreciate
last
you, man.
couple of days,
Done an
man. And I'm
awesome
glad
job.
Mickey was able to go spend some time with his son. So,
Yeah,
hey, you know them as Brent, Ron, and Don and Ron. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm so tired. I don't know what exactly.
Oh,
Brent, Don, and Ron.
You
They
here
are
already?
3HL, and they are on the way. They will be in the building next here on 104.5 The Zone.
In the meantime, in between time.
Peace.